Hey everyone, my name is Nishan Gupta. I'm a second year student at IIM Shillong, and this is my CAT preparation journey and how I got into IIM Shillong. This is going to be a slightly long video because I'm going to discuss everything from my mindset, my daily routines, and the amount of hard work that I put on a daily basis. So feel free to watch some of it or all of it if that's valuable to you. The timestamps will be down in the description below. But before we begin this video, I would like to tell you that I'll be going live on Unacademy tomorrow, that is December 23, 2023 at 4 p.m. And there I'll be discussing how you can prepare for CAT 2024, what should your strategy be like, how should your 11 months look like, and what is the best way to prepare yourself if you want to get a good percentile for CAT 2024. So if you're somebody who's preparing for CAT 2024, then go to the link in the description below and add that to your calendar. And with that, let's begin this video. In a typical MBA fashion, let's talk about my profile. So in an MBA context, whenever you talk about your profile, you start with your 10th, 12th and graduation marks. So I got a 93.5 percentile in 10th. That was a 9. I got a .80 percentile in 12th, so that's an 8. And I did my BTech from MIT Manipal and I got an 8.32 CGPA, so that's another 8. So I had a 988 profile. Adding on to that, I had a total work experience of 12 months and a CAT percentile of 95 percentile. So that was the entire profile that I brought in front of the IIMs when I was sitting for my interviews. But let's just start way back into how did I begin this entire journey. I graduated in the year 2020, but I made up my mind I did not want to do any post-graduation like MBA or MTech. I wanted to work with startups within the startup ecosystem. So I was in Mumbai in the year 2020 working with startups, but 2020 was a year of COVID. So Jan, Feb, March and COVID hit and I was forced to come back home from Mumbai to Goa and work from home for those startups. Now, once I was back home, I was meeting a few of my friends when I saw that one of my seniors and one of my batchmates joined IIM Indore and IIM Bangalore respectively. And so that was the first time when I was introduced to IIMs. Before that, I did not have a single friend or relative who had studied at an IIM that I knew personally. But now that I saw two of my friends whom I had spent my childhood with go to an IIM, I thought if they can do it, so can I. So this was around the month of June when IIMs had started rolling out their offer letters, when I came to know that two of my friends are going to IIM, and that's when the thought of doing an MBA crept up in my head. Between June to November of 2020, I gathered as much information about IIMs, about CAT, about the best coaching institutes, so on and so forth. I did not have enough time to prepare for CAT 2020, but in December of 2020, which is 2 years ago, I had made up my mind that I would be putting all my efforts for CAT 2021. So where you guys are right now, December is where I was 2 years back, and I had made up my mind that I want to get into an IIM. So from Jan 2021, I started wholeheartedly preparing for CAT 2021. Now, this 11-month journey can be divided into two major phases. The first 5 months and the last 6 months. And the major difference between these two phases is that in the month of June 2021, I left my job to prepare for CAT. So before June of 2021, I was trying to balance my job as well as my CAT preparation. On some days it was really good, but on some days it was really bad. And overall, I was very inconsistent with my CAT preparation. But once I left my job and I was wholeheartedly focused on CAT 2021, the intensity of my preparation skyrocketed. Another good thing that I did was I started documenting the amount of effort that I used to put for CAT 2021. So whatever I'm going to show you henceforth is a documentation of my entire journey from June to November of CAT 2021. Just a side note, I am a productivity geek as well as a tech geek, and I use Notion for the entirety of my preparation. And so everything that you're going to see are snippets from Notion. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the daily activity page. Now the daily activity page was something that I used to open up every single time I used to open my laptop. The daily activity page consisted of these three major counters and a countdown for CAT examination. Now if you see, it is 752 days to CAT. That is almost 2 years back when I gave CAT. And I used to have a counter for quant questions, for LRDI questions and RC questions. And so every single day I used to increase the counters if I solved a particular number of quant questions, a particular number of sets for LRDI, or a particular number of RCs for that particular day. Moving on, what you see in front of you is a snippet of a week or 2 weeks in the month of August. Day 17 to day 27. Every single day I used to wake up and sit on this very desk and start preparing for CAT. You can see the timing. It used to, sometimes I used to start at 9, sometimes as late as 11 o'clock. And there was also a column for the number of hours that I studied. So essentially what I used to do was I used to come and sit on this desk and I used to switch on a timer. And every single time I used to sit on the desk, the timer used to go on. Every single time I used to get off the desk, I used to pause that timer. And by the end of the day, I used to look at the amount of time that I have spent on this desk studying and I used to note it down. And the single rule that I had was on this desk, I will not be doing anything else except studying. Apart from that, there are also columns for quant questions, LRDI sets, and RCs. So you can remember the counter that I had previously. Yes, so I used to increase the counter every single time. And then by the end of the day, I used to write how many quant questions I've done, how many LRDI sets I've done, how many RCs I've done. And you can see that the goal for per day was 30 questions for quant, 4 sets for LRDI, and 3 RCs. And on certain days I could hit it, on certain days I could not. But you are going to see a certain level of inconsistency. Some days are going to be good, some days are going to be bad. But that doesn't matter. What matters is whether or not you move forward. So what you're going to see now is each and every section, what I did for quant, what I did for VRC, what I did for LRDI, and what all was it that I was tracking on Notion. Let's start with LRDI. So what I did for LRDI was I made an extensive table with the topic, the concepts, the tag, the number of sets, and the link for that particular class. I did all my classes from Unacademy, so each and every class that I did was thoroughly documented in such table formats. So for example, let's just take one particular example, the second one, counting principles. The 2 concepts that were taught was a pigeonhole concept or a worst case scenario concept. And there were 2 sets done in that particular class. One of them was from CAT, which was a previous year question. If you can look at the tags that I'd put revise as a tag, I'd put important concept as a tag, and revised 1 as a tag. So essentially what I used to do was I used to filter out the classes based on revise, and I used to start revising them. And once I've revised them once, then I used to put another tag called revised 1, so that I know which lectures I've already revised once and which lectures I have not. Let's move on to sets. That basically this entire column used to talk about the number of sets that I have done in that particular class. So for counting principles pigeonhole concept, there were 2 sets solved in that class. So that means in the total duration of 1 hour, 1.5 hours, I had solved a total of 2 sets. Now this is important because I used to sum total the number of sets. And by the entire end of my preparation before mocks, I had done about 310 odd sets, and adding on to mocks another 150. So my total LRDI preparation was about 450 to 500 sets in total. And that is the amount of efforts I put for LRDI. And every single thing that I documented. So there's basics of counting, there's develop logic, and so on and so forth. Every class or a set of classes were clustered under particular topics. So games and tournaments, arrangements, all of these were in particular clusters in this manner. Moving on to VARC. This snippet is just for the month of June. I followed a similar pattern. The topic of the class, that is type of questions part 1, doubt clearing session, process of elimination, so on and so forth. The types of tags that I want to associate to that particular class. Any particular notes that I wanted to make. The score, which is a very interesting thing for that particular class. And the link of that particular class, if at all I want to go back and look at that recording. So let me just run through one of them. That's type of questions part 2. The type of tags that I had were intermediate, revise, and important concepts. So here I had easy, intermediate, and hard type of tags. I had revise, and I also put places where I made silly mistakes. And I made it a point that I had to come back and revise those classes where I made silly mistakes, so I do not make those mistakes again. In every class, we used to solve a particular set of RCs. So the score that you see over here, like 4 out of 7, 4 out of 5, 7 out of 8, is the number of RCs that I got correct in that particular class, because I was solving classes live. And then I used to make small notes as to what exactly was taught, what is something that I needed to keep in mind, so on and so forth. And I did this month on month for my RC preparation. So this is how I did my entirety of VARC. Moving on to quants. Now, for quants, I used to have proper hard copy books where I used to make handwritten notes. Now, they're somewhere up here in the shelf, and in the next video, I will show you all the books and all my notes and how I prepare for quants in detail. But there was no use of Notion as such and no sort of documentation except the quants type of questions counter. And so what I did do, however, was every time I came across a question which was slightly tricky, which was very difficult, that I needed to revise, I used to take a screenshot of it and put it onto the Notion template. And so what you can see here is profit and loss. And here you can see that this is question number 39 of one of the sheets. The sheets I've put down in the resources group in my Telegram channel, link in the description down below. So question 39 is there, and I used to have a toggle where I used to have the solution hidden. So every single time I needed to practice a particular topic, say profit and loss, averages, percentages, time, speed, distance, I used to open that and I used to have a list of all the questions that I found hard, and I used to only practice those questions whenever I needed to revise. So that's exactly what I used to do. For example, here you can see there's question 9 and question 12 with a toggle of the solution of that particular question. And so this is how I use Notion for my quant preparation. So honestly, that's the amount of hard work that I put for my CAT preparation journey, and luckily I had it all documented so that I can show it to you guys. So you guys have an understanding the amount of hard work that it takes to crack CAT and to get into an IIM. If you guys are serious about CAT 2024, then head to the link down in the description below and join my Telegram community, Road to CAT 2024. That's a community of people who are serious about acing the CAT examination, and I'll be helping you guys to the best of my ability. Apart from this, tomorrow I'll be coming on Unacademy to discuss your preparation journey for CAT 2024 at 4 p.m. That's a free lecture, so don't forget to miss that out. Link down in the description below. Till then, see you soon. I think we can stop.